You're hanging out with the Rada Fest Show. Now, on Thursday night, August 12th, we're going to be broadcasting live from Dave & Buster's. That's at the White Football in Bethesda.
Maybe our own Perry Noyd could be there that night and do a tune for us. Perry, you wanted to give out the phone number of your fake radio show. What is it?
Now, starting Monday, we're going to be taking calls. And if you call the number, we're going to be using your voice. The number is 540-723-6237.
And it's not some girlfriend's number that you're trying to get.
Your voice will be used by calling that number. If you leave a voicemail, if you talk to Perry Noyd himself, we're going to use you on the show. So be aware of that. 540-723-6237. Thank you very much, John. Thank you.
All right, here comes Johnny Punani, President of the Radio Talk Soccer with him tonight. And Johnny, what is the radio show that you do?
I do the soccer show.
The soccer show as well.
It's on WST 1120 a.m. Mondays at 6 p.m.
Mondays at 6 o'clock. And what are you guys talking about? You're talking about American soccer or world soccer?
We primarily deal with the local team, AC United.
How are they doing this year?
They're doing all right.
What is happening with Freddie Adu?
How's that? What do you mean?
Is it the phenom that everybody expected? Is he doing okay? Is he doing...
A lot of people pumped him up as being... It was definitely a meaning mistake. They pumped him up as being the super phenom that's going to change the world of American soccer. He's a 15-year-old kid.
Yeah, but
I understand.
It was kind of a good idea. I thought right away they should let the kids score goals. You know, it would have been a smart thing for the league to let him go out there and be the phenom. I guarantee if Vince McMahon was running the league, he would have. And then you would have got more kids involved in it.
Trust me, you go to any DC United game and the kid shows up. It goes nuts. I mean, you hear Freddie all the time. So.
I saw one of their televised games, and I heard the people chanting Freddie. All right, where in the world besides us are they not familiar with soccer? Is there another place? Or is it just us in, like, Canada that aren't soccer crazy?
You'd have to say that Canada and the U.S. are pretty much the only two places. I mean, you got a couple of individual countries that don't follow soccer real well.
Right.
Cuba, things like Nicaragua, I guess, baseball things.
Yeah. But overall, around the world, soccer is not only the big sport, it's mostly like the only sport, right?
Pretty much, yes.
It's European and Latin. Which one had it first?
Yeah, it started out, there's a lot of different arguments, but pretty much the consensus is that it started out in England.
Now, all right, and it's big in the Asian continent, everywhere else. All right, so here's what I can never understand when I'm trying to follow a little bit of the British soccer. Is that the Premier League?
That's correct. That's their top league.
How does this work? How long is the season? It looks like they play in the fall and they play in the spring and summer, right?
Yeah, for the most part, if you're going to use the English as the example, they'll start, in the August, September time frame. And most leagues around the world will take a break around Christmas.
For how long, like a month or so?
A month or so. It depends on where it is, depending on the climate. And then they'll go all the way. With the league itself, they'll go into, like, April. But a lot of times there's extra cups, competitions like that. It'll take it into April and even later than that. So.
And let's try to focus on the British, because I can never understand it. So you play, let's say, the year starts in the fall. The season starts in the fall. Runs to Christmas. They take off. Can you imagine having a sport that took off for 5-6 weeks? Picks back up, and that's all still one season, right? It's kind of...
In England, yeah.
Yeah, in England. So then they get in, they play playoffs between each other. Because there's 20 big teams in England?
Right.
Now, the weird thing is, Fezzi, if you look at the size of England, that would be like saying there's 20 big teams in Pennsylvania. Is there 20 different stadiums, soccer stadiums?
Not necessarily. A lot of I'm not going to say a lot, but they do share stadiums. Like your Premier League might have there's 4 divisions in England. And each one, you can call the other 3 minor leagues just because that's what people are familiar with.
Okay, see, I never knew that. I thought that they were all playing each other.
No. You have 4 different divisions, and it's like baseball, where you have major leagues and then a bunch of minor leagues. The minor leagues over in England, they are professional teams, but
they don't get paid as much.
Obviously, yeah.
Who's got the best soccer players in the world? I heard it used to be England, now it's Spain.
You'll get that argument from anybody, anywhere, that their country has the best players in the world.
What's the number one? Is it Real Madrid now the number one soccer team in the world?
You can argue that, certainly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, is it is worldwide, and every country has a premier team. In England, it's Arsenal because they didn't lose a game this year. This season, you have to say that Arsenal is the best team in England.
And where are they from?
Arsenal? It's a London town.
It's a London team. So London's got like a few teams still.
Yes.
There's like a West London team. There's a...
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I can never follow. I just can't imagine breaking it down that low as much as they do.
Well, I mean, that's the love of the sport right there, is, each section of a town as big as London is going to have its team.
And they're all televised? Or a lot of them are televised across the...
They do, yeah. I mean, that's
same as we do here with football.
They have the TV contract, and, they're going to televise it that way.
And no matter what division or what size team, it gets its fans out there, and I would guess sold out.
No, not necessarily. I mean, they have the same problems any sport in the world's going to have. You got, over in England, you have your top 5 or 6 teams that are going to sell out every game. 40,000, 50,000, 60,000, whatever. The lower divisions, they're going to have trouble. And that's, the difference between the different teams is how much money they bring in from fan base and sponsorship. It's just like any sport.
The truth is Manchester United worth more than any of our football teams. Also, Fez, I didn't know whether you know this, 17% or something of Manchester United is owned by the guy who owns the Bucks.
Really? Malcolm Glazer?
Malcolm Glazer, and there's fears that he's going to try to become the majority owner. They actually sell more pay-per-view, especially when they had Beckham. Now they may be passed by Real Madrid. But I was reading about this, that their pay-per-view gets picked up, especially if you're following a certain player, like it's Beckham or Roberto, who are any of these, Ronaldo. I try to follow some of it, but it's hard for us to even understand that you would be able to watch somebody in different countries in your country off the pay-per-view.
So people are just going nuts for that.
Yeah, here's the thing.
That's fine. Go ahead.
People do get, you have your favorite players and you follow them around.
Right.
Because unlike in the NFL, you can always find out where a player is traded to. You're going to get your, if he does something that day with a different team, let's say he gets traded during the offseason, whatever, you're going to get information on him. However, because soccer is an international sport and all that, a guy might go to a different country, the internet's big, they make money doing that.
The merchandising is much bigger probably, or as big as it is here in this country. So what are we missing here in the United States? How are we not catching on? Why aren't we digging soccer when kids have been playing soccer in this country for long enough now? It should have been.
I would totally disagree. I think it is catching on. You got to realize, the big leagues, the major leagues that they have right now, Major League Soccer, it's 10 years old. It's only
this time.
This time.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember going into Florida 18 years ago, and the Rowdies were a big team, Fort Lauderdale Strikers.
Yeah, the New York Cosmos.
Yeah.
But think about it this way. How long has modern sports been around when the paycheck, the dollar, counts more than the sport itself?
Well, see, here's part of the problem, though. Why are we running a different league than the rest of the world? Why are we running summer leagues here in this country?
Well, I think the obvious thing is no one wants to compete against the NFL. The NFL is the 800-pound gorilla. No one's going to knock them down.
So who says you have to?
Exactly.
Finish third in this country and make a lot of money.
And that's what the league's trying to do right now, is just build it up to where, they've got a business plan, unlike all these other professional leagues in the U.S., that they know that they're never going to be number one in our lifetimes. So they've come out with a business plan that says, hey, all we need is 25,000 fans per game.
At any place.
At any place. Let's say that's what the average is, and we'll make a profit.
Yeah.
Because we're going to keep our costs down, low costs on player salaries, and we're going to, whatever. I don't know enough about the economics in that sense.
Right.
But they don't want to be number one.
See, here's what the problem is. Stop trying to keep the costs down on player salaries. Get some big stars. People in this country follow stars. They're more of a fan of a Michael Jordan or a Magic Johnson than they are of the team.
That's where the mentality... a lot of this, you're asking why don't Americans wrap their hands around it?
Yeah.
The mentality of a soccer fanatic is the game. It's not the player. And here's the example.
Oh, you're saying they just want to watch the game no matter
No. I mean, there are guys who are going to go to a game because of a player.
Yeah.
But, again, getting back to what I said earlier, your player might be gone the next year to a totally different country. A soccer fanatic's going to watch the game for the purity of the game. What do you?
I mean, you can say the same thing about a baseball.
No, you can't. I mean,
yes, you can. Minor league baseball is getting the kind of numbers you're talking about for Major League. What you're hoping Major League Soccer to get. And people will go out to experience the game, but we grew up with the game. The thing is, you've got guys now that are 25, 30 years old who grew up playing soccer, who know the game, who kind of like the game. It seems like they don't want to watch the game, though, the way a kid who played baseball.
Again, I would disagree with that statement. I mean, in the sense that, again, 10 years old, or the league is 10 years old, you don't have the infrastructure. You don't have the entire generation of fans growing up. A kid that, is born today, doesn't know any, 20 years from now, if the league is still around, and has followed soccer, and soccer's his number one sport or whatever, then he will be the fan. Right now you're talking about, you're hoping that a 10-year-old kid who has no spending power.
Yeah, but I'm going to go just the opposite. I think guys that are 25, 30 now played when they were 10 years old, and why aren't they already fans?
Again, are they fans or aren't they fans, or are they fans more of NFL or something like that? It goes down to the economics. Where are you going to spend your entertainment dollars right now?
I don't think it's one or the other. I really don't. I think if you like a sport, you like a sport. We're going to take a break. We'll come back and pick this up. 866-277-4969. It's the Ron and Fez Show.